time. And the weird thing, and the thing that you might not have guessed based on the last couple of minutes of me talking, is I've been weirdly disinterested in all of this fighting. All of Candace Owens and Megyn Kelly and Tucker Carlson and Nick Fuentes, and maybe it's because I don't want to have to agree even temporarily with any of these figures because they're all disgusting ghouls and troglodytes, partially because it gets into weird corners of the internet that even a pre-online person like me doesn't want to waste my time. Like, I'm gonna take time off of hanging out with my daughter to see what Nick Fuentes has been up to recently. Hell no, not at my age and the way I eat. I only have a couple more years left. So I've been weirdly disinterested, but I don't know, maybe today is gonna draw me in. We're gonna play one more clip and then we'll discuss. Let's jump into this about Megyn Kelly.
Second, the thing that is the most valuable thing in political discourse is strategically being insufferable. So that people will look at you and talk to you. This is the keyest of the skills in a social media era when that is really the only path to vault your way into the Overton window of what people are allowed to or not allowed to talk about, and then just widen it. That's what Nick Fuentes does. That's what Piers Morgan does. That's what Ben Shapiro does when he talks like that and is that explicitly annoying.
Yeah. But then, your calls for deplatforming, I thought we could just debate. Dude, you do like an interview a week. You are deciding who to give those spots to. Okay, don't pretend that just anybody can get a spot there. So how dare you have an issue with the ones I choose? You chose them. You chose to do that. And to say it's a debate, you went as easy as you could possibly go on a guy that is the easiest person to bury in political history. You chose to do that, okay? This is not just about open debate or the First Amendment or whatever BS. This is about you strategizing and maneuvering, positioning yourself to not turn off his base because you want their support. And so, again, they're all terrible, including Ben Shapiro. But the reason that I freak out so much over, I guess in this case, like the Megyn Kellys or in particular the Candace Owens and the Tucker Carlsons is, my guess would be, I don't think anyone who thought that Ben Shapiro was a lying grifter doing the business of the billionaire class 3 years ago thinks otherwise now. I think they all think that still. But you might think, well, maybe Candace Owens is just asking questions or whatever. And again, and by the way, I can't speak on any of the individual things that she is focusing on, because again, I have a goddamn daughter, and I'm not going to give up a second I could spend with her to watch whatever grifty nonsense Candace Owens is getting up to, or Tucker Carlson. Both of them are just doing whatever they need to do to get as much attention, as much audience share, as much money and influence as they can get. They do not have one genuine, authentic bone in their body. Now, that does not mean that they can't land on something that could be true if that could get them the attention. Sure. Again, that doesn't mean that everything they say is a lie or whatever, but they have never done or said a single thing in the many ways that both of them have reinvented themselves, utterly changing their views, their positions, whatever, to chase influence and power.
There's a lot happening there. Tucker Carlson, most explicitly of all of them, you can actually trace what you're talking about, John. Like his origin story, I made videos about this. Like, his origin story is Tucker Carlson got embarrassed by Jon Stewart on Crossfire. Crossfire got canceled right after that. Tucker Carlson kind of slipped into anonymity, was doing like Bubba the Love Sponge and saying these horrible things. And this is horrible for a guy who loves being at a dinner party. Yeah. Loves being on the inner circle, loves having that power, and he was on the outs. And so from then on, he would do whatever was necessary. And in exile, he learned many skills and honed many more skills to get back to the place where he is now. And he was losing the power struggle to Charlie Kirk for control over conservatism in America. Charlie Kirk whom they're all painting as this god king, was slain. No one I know who is good is advocating for that. Was advocating for that to happen. Thinks it's a good idea. We all think it's horrible, horrible. But now they are all sensing a power vacuum, like ISIS did.
Yeah.
And they are seeking to fill it. And this is the discourse that they use to do that very thing. And they all have, in many ways, the same agenda, and in other ways different. They all have the agenda of being the one in power. There's a lot of money in it. Ben Shapiro is angry at Turning Point because that's probably his goal when he's not trying to write movies. To be